Hi, and welcome to Coffee Chat with Impact, the series where I have real conversation with resilient people who have overcome the odds to succeed. It's my heartfelt desire to bring you uplifting conversations that inspire you and that make you hungry to live the life you deserve. My name's Kim Tapel, and my guest today is the amazing Brett J. Jeffery. So welcome, Brett. It's so good to have you here.
Hey Kim, thanks for having me.
Look at him. You're at the beach or somewhere that's nice. You can tell that we're in different time zones because I'm in here and it's getting dark, and you're out somewhere with your cap and I'm jealous, totally jealous. Brett, I've got here some amazing lists of achievements, so I'm going to grab my piece of paper so that I don't miss any of the magic and not do you justice. So I'm just going to have a quick read here and share with the audience today a little bit about what you've achieved, what you maybe have gone through, and then we're going to jump on and have some really real conversations about things that, you know, people might not know about you, but it's going to be a really inspiring and hopefully make people feel that they can do it too. So let's dive in. So you have a list of many achievements. Brett is a thriving six-figure digital marketing business. He's an accomplished speaker, educator, presenter. He had a career which spanned over 30 years in corporate management, which had him managing over 100 staff. Yeah, brave, you're brave. And his most precious achievement to date is living life on his term in his signature cap and shorts, as you can see. Brett shared with me though, it hasn't always been easy. There's been some major setbacks along the way, including an unexpected heart attack that had him realizing that if he didn't change the way he was working, it would kill him. Brett describes himself as incredibly stubborn, I can relate, and somewhat resilient. He refuses to give up on his goals and supporting others to take action on theirs. Wow, it's a pretty epic introduction. You've achieved so much already. And I suppose it's easy for people to kind of look at the success that you've had and not realize the struggles that you've had to overcome. You shared with me that you went to school to eat your lunch and play sport, and that you left with no formal education. And I know what, a lot of people watching right now can relate to that, myself included. I did exactly the same, but I went to eat my lunch and look at boys. So slightly different, but similar. Can you share with the audience today and with myself how you went from no education to working in upper corporate management and managing over 100 people? Like, how does that even happen?
I know, right? And even with you saying that, it was as much a surprise to my family and myself as it was to me to actually, you know, end up in that kind of role, in that position at the latter half of my working career. But it's really interesting. I guess one of the life lessons I learned coming out of school with no education, actually, that's a little bit of a lie. I did pass one subject. I got art.
Cooking. Homemade cooking, yes.
Yeah, but artists don't make any money until they're dead, and then their families get the money. So that wasn't going to be the career path for me. So yeah, I left school with really no idea what to do because no qualifications and no real confidence in what kind of career I could even have. So like most people who walk out of school unprepared for their future lives like me, started from the ground up, so driving forklifts in a warehouse. That's where I began.
Awesome.
But one of the key lessons I learned over working through my job career into the corporate scene was it's not about IQ. It's not about your intelligence or your education. It's actually about a thing called EQ, which is your emotional quotient, not your intelligent quotient, which is really your skill set and your ability to work with people in a collective manner. And when you have some leadership qualities, whether you realise you have them or not, they actually come forward. And that's how I discovered how I made that transition into corporate. Really was just being a people person, loved being around people, and then moved into the leading people role. And then before I knew it, was in management, in upper management and corporate. So the bottom line is, it's not about your intelligence and what you've learnt at school. It's about your relationships with people. That's the real key to success. You get a diploma in people skills, you can have an incredible career in life, yeah, with relationships.
Totally. So what I'm hearing here is, though, I suppose, and maybe you can confirm this, that it's, besides that, you had a real growth mindset, that you were hungry to learn something. That, you know, there's a lot of people who go to school and school doesn't really seem the right fit for them. And I was kind of one of those people. Or they have, you know, their parents break up and they don't feel motivated to do something. And then it's not till they leave school and they get that hunger inside, that knowing that they know that they're here for more, that they then start to apply it. So do you think that was one of the key factors as well, that you had a growth mindset, that you really were hungry?
It's funny you say that. No, actually. I was actually one of those really quiet individuals who was always in the background and would only join in conversations when it was a group conversation. Just one of those, you know, behind the scenes kind of guys. But through some of the positions I moved into and some of the people I started to connect with and hang around, I realized it was a mindset thing. So it was kind of like a revelation to me. And then I was also put in the position of where I needed to stretch and grow my mindset. And that's when the penny dropped, and realized then it is about mindset. It's about how you think. What you put out, you receive, you know, you speak it into existence. All of those phrases we've heard about, if anyone's, you know, delved into personal development and mindset work. But it was kind of by chance and who I ended up associating with that got me into that pathway.
Wow. And look at you now. I don't think you're not hiding behind the scenes anymore now, are you?
Well, it's funny. It's been a real journey, but I tell you what, it wasn't always, as you say, the way that it was. Like in the latter half of my working career, had massive responsibilities, made fantastic money, and we'll talk about that soon, I think, in regards to the price I paid for that. But where was I going with that? I totally lost
Love it. I love it. Well, maybe I'll touch on something in
Oh, no, it wasn't always that way. No, it wasn't always that way. And, you know, I've had many hurdles in my career, and one of them was back in New Zealand. I don't know if you spotted, some of the people may have spotted the accent, was I was in finance and management in New Zealand for quite some time, and rental property investment, and was doing super well for myself, was semi-retired, really to fully retire before 50. And then the GFC came along and totally wiped out my portfolio. The company I worked for and invested in these properties owed me a couple of $100,000 worth of commission. And I had to walk away with having lost everything and money owed to me, and had to start again. And when you're in your early 40s, that's a big deal. And so the first big hurdle for me to personally overcome was, you know, the old saying, when you fall off the horse, get back up. I felt like I'd been pushed off the horse. So getting back up wasn't quite as easy. It really damaged my confidence and everything else. So hence the move to Australia, moved into minor management, and then back into upper corporate management again. But then, as you know, there was another life incident a bit further down the track after that.
But you know what, that's the thing that's so amazing about, I believe we all have a thing called the resilience factor inside all of us. And I think that we just need to activate it. And it only really gets activated when we go through trials and tribulations like you just did. And I heard something on a podcast today where she turned around and she was talking about when we're smack in the middle of it, or as you just said, knocked off the horse, and it probably felt like the horse stood on you as well.
Yeah.
It's really hard for us to see over the hill, that it's going to get better and that there is another opportunity for us. And obviously when that happened to you, you must have been, it was so amazing that you'd already invested time in your mindset, because if you hadn't, you probably wouldn't have been able to rebuild and get back into corporate management. You probably could have potentially stayed where you are. And I see lots of people don't move forward when something that large or obstacle happens to them. They can't ever get over that hurdle. So, man, you need to be super proud of yourself, because I'm really proud of you, because that's an awesome achievement.
Oh, well, thank you. You're right. It was definitely mindset. By that stage, I'd done some mindset work and growth. And, you know, two things could have happened. I could have curled up on the ball and said, that's it. I'm too late in life to really fully recover. Or let's just get back in there and start inching forward once again. And it wasn't going to be a big leap forward. I knew it would be an inching forward journey, but I was prepared to take that journey, because deep down, still inside of me, even though I felt I've been pushed off that horse and my confidence had been given a bit of a slashing and a slaying, I knew deep down inside of me I still had what it takes to be successful, and I could rebuild. If I was that person before, I could become that person again. And I think that's such a key lesson for anybody. You know, it doesn't matter what happens to you in your life, you can recover. It's how you respond to it, and then who you hang around to support you with that journey and that recovery. Yes, so crucial.
Yeah, you just hit on a really key point there. It's the people and the support that you have around you. And I was sharing with one of my other guests the other day, I heard this Les Brown, one of the most amazing motivational speakers. He said this statement the other day, and he said, if you are the smartest person in the room, you need to get new friends and in a new room, because you need to grow. And I laughed and I thought to myself, it's so true, because if we're hanging around the same people and we're not learning or growing, or, you know, they're not necessarily maybe doing something that's empowering us, then we need to find a new room or a new group of people to help support us.
100%. And I think this is what I love about these conversations. I'm so glad you've set this up, because through conversation, it triggers more things that I wasn't even going to mention today. But, you know, it's about growth. And one of the key things I learned very early on was success in life, regardless of where you want that, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your finances, sport, whatever, your success will only ever get to the levels of your personal growth and mindset level, and no more. So if you really want to have a bigger life, a more colourful life, you know, just pure abundance in all areas of your life, then we have to grow as people. But the good news is as we grow as people, everything else in our lives grows to match that. So that's the beauty of personal growth and mindset work, is as you grow, your finances grow, your career grows, your relationships grow, your health grows, everything grows to match that. So really the sky's the limit. And so for me, the mindset work and the personal development is never ending. I never want to cease that journey, because I want my life to grow so I can have my cup completely full all the time, so I can be of more service to other people.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true, and that's fantastic. It's I said that to a friend the other day. She's like, "Are you always doing this, or you're doing another course?" And I said to her, it's, you know, if everyone wants a magic pill, I want to do that course, or I want to do that meditation, or I want to do that, and it's all fixed. But we are living a human experience, and we have human emotions, and so we might think, cool, I've got that one sorted. I dealt with that limiting belief. And then another situation triggers from something that might have happened in the past. And all of a sudden, oh, my zenness has disappeared and I'm back to my normal self. And it's a forever journey. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. And the liberation from each breakthrough, it's so empowering, right?
Yeah. So you rebuild, you get yourself back up to corporate management status, and you have a heart attack.
I know.
It's just like, you must have been sitting there going, okay, what are you trying to tell me? Somebody tell me.
I know. I thought, you know, the universe, it's really testing me. You know, we sent life lessons for a reason, but really, do I need two big ones?
No.
Maybe I did. But yeah, but you know what? everything happens for a reason, and I am a huge believer in that. Whether it's something massive that happens to us, it is for a reason, and there's always a lesson in there. And even if we may not see it at the time, and it may not be a great experience, but there is always a lesson. And for me, you know, I was working up a corporate, as I said. I was managing several venues for a company, hundreds of staff under my care, so massive responsibility, stress and responsibility, but they paid me really well. So the sacrifice of all of that time, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, I felt was worth it for the money. And it was short term, but that kind of life can only survive healthy-wise in your life for a short term. And what I realised as time went on, life became extremely unbalanced. Everything else in my life was suffering apart from finances. My friendships and my relationships were suffering. My health started to suffer. And even though I recognised it was out of balance, Kim, I had no other way of generating that level of income. I started off with no education and built myself up to what I was doing. I had no other skill sets to fall back on. So I just kept doing what I was doing. And I think most people get caught in that trap. Well, what else is there I could do to replace the income I've worked so hard and long for to build up to? So I just kept doing it. And then the heart attack came along. And even though it was the worst thing at the time, it was the best thing because it made me take time out and really think about life in that hospital bed. And in that bed, I made the decision that I had to make a change. I wasn't too old. I was 53 years of age at that stage. I wasn't too old to learn a new skill set. So I actively started looking for something. Had no idea what that something could be. But that's where that, you know, people talk about that line in the sand moment. And that heart attack gave me that line in the sand moment to really think, you know what, this job's going to kill me if I continue with it. So again, massive event, but massive events are there to teach us a lesson, right?
Yeah, and I suppose when we think about, so many people wouldn't leave the situation. So just so that our guests watching today realize, so that you had this heart attack and you decided to give up, that I suppose some people might think, oh, good cash cow, you know, that's my security. A lot of people would be in massive fear at that stage, going, you know, I've got to hold on to everything. And so a lot of them would just go back to what they know. They'd recover, they'd get their health back, and then they'd go back and keep living that loop. So, you know, it's amazing. Thank God you didn't, because we would never have met. And but like, yeah, it's amazing now that you run a 6 to 7 figure digital business. You're empowering so many people, and I'm one of them, around the world, to really step into themselves and focus on growth. So you're so motivational by the information that you share out there. If I was watching this, you know, sometimes people sit there and go, oh, that's easy for you. You know, you're sitting there, you know, you probably had some money in the bank. That's easy for you. What's maybe one thing that you could say to that person that's watching, going, you know what, you know, to inspire them to be resilient, to pivot, to go, you know what, say yes to me, not yes to the fear, but say yes to me, because on the other end of that fear is a better journey for them. Yeah.
And I think I could answer that in 2 parts, because as humans, we don't do anything for no reason at all. So we have to have a reason to do something. And if it's going to be a major pivot, then it needs to be something major, like a major reason, right? And for so many people, me included, it can be a crisis or hitting rock bottom. So for me, the crisis was a personal one. Yeah, it was the heart attack. Right now, globally, there's a global crisis, and so many people are in that zone of going, right, I need to make a change. So that's their line in the sand moment. They may be actively looking for something right now to make that pivot. I don't know. But, you know, it's usually something major like that, and that's kind of like a negative prompt, but we tend to be prompted more by negative than positive. That's human nature. But the positive nudge that people get sometimes too, when it's not a crisis or hitting rock bottom, is they just know deep inside that there's something more for them. what they're doing right now isn't what they're meant to be doing. And some people make the transition and pivot from that feeling, that nudge from the universe, if that makes sense. So it could be either or, but it's usually something nagging at us from a crisis rock bottom perspective, or we just know we're meant for more or meant to be doing something else, and we want to step out of that groundhog day that we experience doing what we're currently doing in the 9 to 5 or whatever we do. And that's when people make that pivot. But I guess for a lot of people, it's just that starting point of, okay, I want to make a pivot, but where to and how to. And I think that's sometimes where people have the desire, but it never moves into action because of not knowing where to go and where to turn and where to get support and that kind of thing. So, so that's a really huge thing is who you surround yourself with. Success in life isn't done on your own, as we all know. You've got to have a team of support around you, or a coach or a mentor. So if anybody's looking to pivot for whatever reason, find somebody who's living the lifestyle you want or in the industry you'd like to be in, and create a connection, create a conversation. It all starts with a conversation, and you just never know where just a friendly conversation over a cup of coffee or over the phone, over a Zoom call may lead your life, because, exactly. So I think, the first part of any pivot is a conversation with someone who is living the life you want or in the industry you'd love to be in. There has to be a starting point somewhere. But anybody can make the pivot. It's never too late to make a change in life. Anyone can learn a new skill set. And, we're only on this planet once, right? That was going to be one
of my questions, because, some people, like myself, when I first decided to learn a new skill set, and like yourself, when you are in your 50s and something might happen, it is quite scary to think that, how can I learn this new skill set? And if we're honest, I didn't have computers when I was at school. Everything I've learned from being, proactive in learning it. If you had one thing to say to that person who's sitting there going, yeah, but, I don't know how to use a computer, what would your advice be say to them? Because the area where we're going to find something that we want to do is going to be on the online space, just purely because with this lovely thing that's going around, we actually don't get to interact with people as much. So if we are going to find people who we can be like-minded, it's probably going to be online. And
100%. And that's something I realized as well when I made that pivot in that hospital bed. I knew the online space is where it was at, where things were going, and I needed to upskill myself and make that transition. I guess the one thing I would say to somebody, and it's going to be in a couple of parts, but it's kind of all the one thing, is take away your excuses.
Yeah.
Get your own butt out of the way. Don't say I'd love to learn that skill set, but I'm too old, or but I don't have any money, or but I don't have any time. Get that butt out of the way, because we've got no excuses anymore.
Yeah.
There is so much online access. Like many of the things I've learned have been self-taught. We can jump onto YouTube on a how to do this or a how to do that. And then if you align yourself with a coach or a mentor or a community of people who are chasing the same goals as you and learning the same skill sets as you, then you've got people to bounce off as well. So you're never on your own, and there's just no excuses, bottom line. So really there's no longer sitting on the fence. You either dip your toe in or you jump in, or you shut up and put up with with how life currently is. And that might sound pretty black and white, but
no, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I asked at the end of, first of all, thank you. We've had some pretty powerful food for thought, man. It definitely took a slightly different direction, and I'm really excited that it did, because you shared so many little nuggets of wisdom. At the end of every interview that I have, I like to ask the same question, and the question is, what book, audio, or music or anything, what do you use when you're stuck in a challenging time and you really need to shift your head and to be kind of inspired to get out of it? Is there any particular item that you use so that you can, get back to just doing what you need to do?
Yep, and that's a great question, because if anybody's a parent out there, you know that when a child is misbehaving or not doing what they need to be doing and you need to change their state, you do that with distraction, right? Very, very powerful thing. So that's how I've learnt to get myself back on track. And one is I just love music, but it just makes me feel good. So that's an energy thing. But the one thing, this is such a good question, I'm glad you asked it, is I've got a favourite book called The Magic. I read it every single day. I've read it every single day for the last nearly 3 years.
Wow.
And I used to read it from start to finish, one chapter a day. And now I just randomly open it because I believe whatever's in that chapter that I've randomly opened, that's what I need for the day. And it's all about gratitude and the practice of gratitude. And there's two powerful things about this book and gratitude, and why it's my centering thing for me, is it makes you stop and think about everything in your life that you are grateful for, that you've had in the past and in the current and the now, and then what you're about to receive in the future. Because whether things have always gone to plan or not, you can be thankful for the lessons. You can be thankful for the smallest things, the air we breathe, the grass we walk on, views like this. You know, there's just endless things to be grateful for, and it's a great state changer when you feel like you're being hard done by or something's not going to plan. It really levels you back out to being grateful and humble, and really gives you a clear perspective again about where everything's really at. And the other thing is, when you are grateful and you truly practice the techniques of gratitude, which you learn in this book, is it actually opens you up to receive more as well. So that is always my go-to. Bit of music in the background often, but reading the gratitude book, The Magic, or practicing gratitude from the techniques I've learned from that book, turns it around 360 degrees, because then it's no longer about me. It's about everything else and everyone else. Super, super powerful.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I have that book. I've read it twice. I must admit, I haven't done it, used it from the aspect of just going, okay, God, universe, whatever higher power you talk to, tell me which one I need to know today. So I might try that. That's an epic technique. So thank you for that, Shia. The Magic is written by Rhonda Byrne. So she was the lady that did the book The Secret and the movie The Secret, and this is a sequel to that, in case you want to look up and find it yourself. So I said it a few minutes ago, but I'm going to say it again, because I say it at the end of every of my Coffee Chat with Impact interviews, is that I truly believe that inside of us we all have a resilience factor, and all we have to do is ignite it again, so that we can get hungry to live the life we want to live. And you know what? That's our episode of Coffee Chats with Impact. Thank you so much, Brett. I really appreciate your time. I'm super jealous that you're at the beach. And I really hope that this conversation inspired you, uplifted you, and made you hungry to live the life that you deserve. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care. Bye. Bye, Brett.
See ya. Thanks, Jeff.